KSTL 690 East St. Louis, St. Louis.
Welcome to the Sparkman Pathway to Careers. Good afternoon to each of you in your respective places. I am delighted to have your ear one more time this beautiful day. It is a little gloomy here in St. Louis. I'm looking outside of the window, but I don't see any snow. So I've got a little smile on my face because I get to actually wear some real shoes today, not those clunky boots. But it is cold here in the Midwest. You're listening in to Sparkman Pathway to Careers. I'm holding down 2 shows today. And with Sparkman Pathway to Careers, those of you who are new, we bring you information to help you excel with your careers, your entrepreneurship, as well as leadership. So on today, I don't have a guest with me because I received so much feedback. Bombarded with feedback in regards to Mindset Matters. That was the show on last week with Nicholas Powell, and he was on. And so I thought, let me just take a moment to back us into all that he shared and then move us forward into how do we begin to plan? Because now that we've got our mind together, how do we then plan for the rest of the year? How do we then prepare ourselves, whether it's professionally, whether it is personally? I don't think you can separate the two. You truly are doing and living all this out at the same time. But what's interesting, a lot of people that I talk to end up having all these great ideas that they want to do. They set possibly New Year's resolution, but resolution, jury's out on if that works or not. I do believe that there's a shift in regards to the wording that we can use. Maybe, like for me, I don't use resolution. I actually call it a life positioning plan. And the life positioning plan allows me to take some true intentional steps to make progress professionally and personally. And I'm sure there are a host of other ideas, and I see a bunch of people. I am now dual rolling it. I'm live on air, but I'm also doing the live on Facebook. If you have a plan that you use to help you through the year, let me know about it. Either send me an email at hello@NicciRoach.com or hit me up here and let me know. Tina Grams, I know you have something special in regards to what it is that you do to get people planning, because she's a coach. She gets us all in position as well as getting us to write things down. Because many people will say, I have the ideas in my head. I know what I want to do. I know what I'm grinding. Yeah, you're just busy, but are you actually getting stuff down? Do you have results? Do you have receipts for what it is that you're wanting to do? So today we're going to talk a little bit about setting those expectations for yourself. I meet with a lot of different people, male and female, and the first thing they share is their credentials, what it is that they've done, what they've accomplished, the degrees, the certificates. That's great. That's awesome. I think it's wonderful. But if you don't have a plan for yourself in regards to how you're going to use those credentials, as well as how you're going to allow those credentials to be picked apart so that you can make some transferable contribution to whether it's your personal goals for the year or goals for your organization. That's whether you own it or you work for someone. So there's different ways that you can go about planning, and also having the idea that maybe New Year's resolution is not your thing. But I found this amazing article from the New York Times, and it is in their Smarter Living section. And in this, it is absolutely amazing how they broke down this whole idea of setting goals. And again, send me what you do. Let me know and share what it is that you can have input, and we can share it, because the thing is, this platform is to help all of us be empowered and equipped to move further, not faster, but just further along in our goals. And there's room for all of us. And, I always say there's something hidden down in there that all of us need to make us and push us to greatness. But most New Year's resolution, those of us who do set them, usually fail by January. And it's not so much that these goals are not attainable. It really is that our heart and our minds is fixed on it. However, it takes us a while to understand, are these goals doable? Are they actually obtainable? And then what's the plan to even get it done? We just kind of paste up here, I want to open a company. But many of us may not necessarily even know what is that company that you're even wanting to open. But also, what are the pieces and the parts that need to come together to make that happen? And what's interesting is that I see you, Broham. Thank you. And I see you. Thank you, Tarina. You've put your information out here in regards to what you do to make these accomplishments happen. Thank you. Keep posting. I'm going to come back to that. However, what they're suggesting in this article, which is so amazing, is that we have to make sure that these goals that we're setting are obtainable and doable. What is interesting, they provide us with three main reasons why these resolutions go wrong. And those three main reasons surround these ideas. The resolution or the plan is created based on what someone else or society is telling us to change or that we need to do. So this kind of even falls into peer pressure as well. Even as adults, we fall into this area of peer pressure because we are trying to go after something that we have not yet personally bought into, or haven't even realized the fact, is this really for me? Or is this something that because everybody else is doing, this is what's trending, I need to get on board? Not so all the time. You've got to take the time to stop and pause to figure out what is it that you really want. And what I find is that a lot of people cannot answer that question. There is a general broad aspect that some of us can provide when we're being asked that question. But the one that tickles me, but also concerns me, is I'll do anything. I just want to get my foot in the door, or I just want to own a company. But it's like, okay, so what will the company do? Like, you have to be specific to what it is that you're wanting to do, but also, is this what you want to do, or is this something that is trending? So you have to answer that question. Also, the next point and reason that our resolutions, our goals fail, they're too vague. As I mentioned, I just want to get my foot in the door and work for the company. How are you going to expect someone to help you transition into an opportunity if you first don't know what you want, as well as not completed the research to understand there is something that somebody can help you with? But if you cannot answer that question, guess what? Not only are they not going to be able to help you, many people who, such as Marissa Payne, I see you, who is amazing in this space that I'm talking about, she's able to help, but if she's not able to get you to even buy into your own dream, guess what? She's not even wanting to help, because that means you've got a lot of work that needs to be done. And that person, whoever it is that you're talking to or seeking out assistance from, they can't help you do that. The third point of reason why many of our resolutions and plans for the new year fail is we don't have the realistic plan of achieving the resolution or the plan. And that's going back to, Yes, you may want to open a company, or yes, you may want to get a job at a specific organization, for whatever that reason may be. However, what's interesting is that, is it really that you've gotten to the point to where you can make it realistic? Is it something that can happen? Well, don't be dismayed. Guess what? We've got an acronym that was coined by the Management Review in 1981 to help with this process. And they came up with the acronym of SMART, S-M-A-R-T. And I am just loving this approach. And before I dig into what all of that is, I just want to tell you that you've got to find a way. You can be smart, and I'm going to give you all what these acronyms mean. But until you write something down, yes, I am that formal. This is what I'm working with. My producer, my buddy, my coach, Hernandez. We've been chatting about this whole project the last couple months in regards to writing out the vision. What is it that you want? If you can articulate it, guess what? Nobody else can. And guess what? It'll be 2020 and we're having this same conversation, and it's like, oh my gosh, what have I done with the time? I mean, it's next week. January is over. So, however, it doesn't have to be this fancy, but those of you on Facebook Live, you can see I actually have all of this this layout, and it's called my life positioning plan, and it is all laid out in regards to a story that motivates me. I also have a theme for my life, professionally and personally, which is authentic submission, which allows me to say I need to show up 100% with who I am, but also know who I am, know what I want. And the submission part is there are so many things I've been wanting to do, but the fear or the lack of preparedness. And my thing is nothing different between you and the person you admire who's doing some things that you would want to do. The only difference is they've been committed and they have been consistent. And guess what? They've been prepared. You can teach yourself anything. So like on here, one of my goals was to launch. There's an extension of my company that I am wanting to launch. I have no clue how to do it. But what did I do? I wrote it down. I wrote out a plan, some steps, and some people I needed to talk to and pick their brains to see how is it that you got started. You don't have to start from scratch. There's so many people doing amazing things. And how is it that you can find yourself sitting alone trying to figure it out? That's your fault. Because guess what? You can find someone, and people are so willing to share their journey. So willing. It's just a matter of you doing your homework to make sure it's an individual that you are most interested in. And it may not be their whole story, but it may be a nugget of their story that could be the very key you need to get to the next level, to get to the next point. Remembering realistic, obtainable goals. But let's get to this acronym of SMART. As you're preparing to write out your goals, if you've not already done them, but now you can also go back, because I actually have gone back to see how else I can refine what it is that I've written out for 2019. And SMART stands for, the S is specific, the M is measurable, the A is achievable, the R is relevant, and the T is time bound. So let's kind of unpack this just a little bit. So when we're talking about setting our goals, setting our resolutions, and planning our life to get positioned for excellence, when we talk about being specific, we're talking about narrowing it in, laser beam focused, laser beam concentrated, intentional approach to what it is that you want. You may have a goal. You know, we always talk about the goal of losing weight, managing weight. You know, we talk about that. However, you can't just write that down as, oh, this is a goal. Or like I said, I want to own a business. Okay, great. You want to own a business, but what is that business doing? Who's your target audience? What problem are you going to be solving? What is the why the world even needs this company. And it's not so much questioning to talk you out of it, because as Nicholas Powell told us on last week, people can poke holes in it, but you've got to find the confidence and the tenacity to keep going and just patch that stuff up, but you can't patch up if you're not focused and not specific. So in that, you want to make sure that it's specific. So if it's, I want to own a company, great. That's absolutely fabulous. But I want to own a company that blanks. So many people are doing empowerment. So I want to do a company that empowers. Well, who are you empowering? Why do they even need to be empowered? Why are they coming to you to be empowered? So all that stuff, being specific, narrow it all the way down. Yeah, this is going to take work, but that's what separates the greats from the wannabes. You got to pin in the work. You got to do the research. You have to do that. And these are not one and done approaches. It is something that you have to do over and over again, because trust me, as you get more and more specific with what it is that you're wanting to do, seeking to do, and accomplish, what's interesting, you will find that you're going to have to pivot in some point. And that pivot, though, can remain still in a very, very intentional pivot. You're not just changing and flipping and going all over the place because now you're doing too much stuff. But it's because your why, you're being able to address that why and understanding more needs to be done to narrow down. So say, for instance, I'll use myself, I'm always transparent. I'll use myself for an example. I started out with a company that was empowering women of color, but then there was always some need for individuals who were not of color. But then there was also a need for individuals who wanted to be empowered, and I saw that they would be empowered, but a lot of times you can empower, but there's no substance. So I had to understand what was my area of expertise when it comes to substance that people needed. And with that, I was able to narrow it down some more. And I narrowed it down some more. And guess what? I'm with you right now on the air, thanks to Miss Marilyn Parker, because she saw something. Because even as you're being specific and you're positioning yourself, guess what? Other people notice. They will come up under you and pull you into that space to let you operate in that gifted space and area. So it's bigger than just you knowing. When you know and when you find out when you get specific, other people can help. Talked about that earlier, but they can also come in and provide opportunity. But you've got to be prepared. The M is for measurable. Measurable. Again, we're talking about SMART, being smart. So specific, now we're on measurable. Here's where the other work comes in, because I can say, I want to open a company, or I want to advance in my career. However, advancing in your career can mean a whole lot of things, and it could actually cause you to deviate from what it is that the journey that you're on now. It's not so much that you're leaving it. Law of attraction, yes. Marissa, yes. I'm so excited about this. I guess you guys can tell. But measurable. So you can say, going back to the business, I want to open a business, but if there are no steps measurable, guess what? I can be wanting to open a business 5 years from now. But even for me, I have taken the point to where I'm doing a listening tour. So I've found a group of people who have already taken the route, and they have receipts. Not, I just want to open one too. No, they have receipts in regards to, this is the company that I can actually go to their brick and mortar, and some of them are working out of their homes. But I'm on a listening tour. I just want to know, give me 30 minutes of your time. I want to know your journey. How have you made such great progress? Where did you have to pivot? What would you have done different? And so we go through all of these different things, but my measurable action is I've given myself 30 days to go on a listening tour, to hit up as many people as I can to learn. While I'm doing that, I'm also reading a couple books. Yes, time is crazy, but this is where you come in. We've got to do a show about resources. Audible, they are not a sponsor for me, but it has actually been amazing to learn some strategy just by listening and driving. While I'm driving, I've had to undo some of my old habits. I love music, but I turn the music off so I can put on something to educate me and get my mindset right. So now I'm meeting people, giving myself 30 days to meet different people who are business owners. I now am listening to information. By June, there are a couple things that I have listed in this plan that I have typed out that individuals will help me with. I also have already went out and printed, because I said, what if I wanted to have a building? I have taken the steps to even partner and connect with people who know about the building. So I have a contractor, and this is like I really have gone all out to put all this stuff, but this is measurable outcomes. So and I can continue to go on and on, but I think you get the gist of it at this point in regards to you have to set a timetable of some sort, because if it's not measurable, it's not a goal, it's just an idea. Let me say that again. If it's not measurable, what you're trying to do, it's not a goal, it's just a good idea. So find what it is that you're trying to do, whether it is with your career, your entrepreneurship, you want to find yourself in leadership, or a professional organization that you want to become a part of. Everything has an opportunity to attach some type of measurable outcome to it. That way you know that progress is being made. It's not just a good idea. So SMART. So we've got be specific, make it measurable. Then we have A, make it achievable. This does not mean that you can't have big stretch goals, but trying to take too many big steps will cause you to get frustrated. You will not find yourself engaged. You will check out, and we're still trying to get people to buy in. You can't check out. But if it's not achievable, you're not going to be able to successfully continue down the path of making whatever it is that the goal is come to pass. So understanding that it has to be achievable. So set some baby steps. Find ways to take small steps that you can measure. Again, small steps are still great victories. So find ways that you can take small steps and then check them off. Check them off. Yes, Anita, faith without works is dead. A goal without effort is just a dream. Exactly. The R, so we've got specific, measurable, achievable. The R is relevant. If this goal that you're really after, if it matters to you and you are making it for the right reasons, then it'll happen. But if it doesn't matter to you, again, going back to I'm just on the bandwagon of what's trending and what's happening, so to speak, guess what? You don't have buy-in, so you're not going to be able to really build. It's not going to make sense. You're not going to have the passion, and people will recognize that. They will understand that. So you want to make sure that if you are building, make sure you build up a process where you're thinking harder about what's good for you. So you're changing the structure of your life. You're bringing people into your life who will reinforce that goal. Then you can have a more fighting chance to understand. And yes, Aunt Pamela Ware down in San Antonio, thanks for listening in. Yes, putting God first in all of this. Yes, you are so right. Then the T. So we've got be specific, be measurable, be achievable, relevant, and then T is for time bound. So just like achievable, the timeline towards achieving your goals should be realistic. Set and create a realistic timeline with smaller, immediate goals. Not so much that by December, I want to be doing this, I want to do that. Make sure it is realistic. One last thing I want to incorporate into this process of SMART is accountability. What I found when I am going through my list, I found a couple people who thought this was a little corny to put all of our ideas on paper, but they decided to join me, and they have put their goals on paper, and we have decided to connect once a month via text, and sometimes in person if we're in the same area. And all we ask one another is, how is the list going? And what's amazing is that the list, when you connect with someone who is also passionate, there is this level of contagion that happens. Because once I see you excited, I get excited. And guess what? I'm like, let me get to my list and figure out, okay, let me get back on track. What's my timeline like? Let me make this happen. Now, if that person doesn't get excited, guess what? You may need a new accountability partner. Because not everybody needs to be in your space, in your circle, or on this journey with you. And understand, don't get discouraged. The people around you don't always need to know everything that you're after, but somebody needs to know some things you're after. And making sure the right people know the right parts. But again, if you can't communicate that, how are they going to help you? And the thing is, we want them to help. Because you cannot, I don't care how great the vision is, you cannot do it alone. But there are a whole bunch more things. As I said, let me know, chime in, and let me know what it is that you're doing to keep yourself on track. We're going to be talking about this for the entire 2019 to make sure that we get some things going and we get some things done. There's so much amazingness happening around me, and I'm using this platform to make sure that you are educated and equipped with all the resources that you need to make it happen. So if you are somebody who has some great tools, some great resources, or a great strategy, hit me up, let me know so I can get you on and before this audience. Thank you for sharing your time, for listening in. This is Sparkman Pathway to Careers, where we're equipping you and educating you with everything for success. But in the meantime, while you're on your journey, don't forget to smile, because you have already won. The battle is not yours, it is the Lord's, and He's got us right where we need to be, and we are going to make this happen this year. I'm your host, Nicci Roach. Hit me up at NicciRoach.com or just at Nicci Roach on all social media platforms, and we're going to make this happen. Have a good one.
I'm pastor of the Empowered Church, and I also serve as president of Kojic Urban Initiatives. I have an opportunity today to speak on behalf of a young lady I've known for a number of years, Marilyn Parker. For those years I've known her, she's been committed to finding jobs for people throughout the community without remuneration, and she's been very faithful and diligent and tireless in her efforts to find employment for people. The Lord has placed it on her heart to have a series of workshops and to open them to the community. The workshops are about employment and also the ministry of helps. And she's encouraging all pastors to come out to that activity and also to bring your staff that are working on the issue of employment. Let me step back for a minute and just say how important that is. The church historically has done a wonderful job of preparing people for eternity. We do a wonderful job of inviting them to Christ and mentoring and shepherding them into the kingdom. But what we maybe need to do a little bit better job on is preparing